Well, hey there, folks. Welcome to The Roundup. We're a Cowboy State daily podcast, and we focus on interesting people in the Cowboy State. And today, oh my gosh, this person is so interesting, and she's kind of hiding in plain sight because she's a business person in Casper, but she has this amazing talent and this amazing other profession that is bringing her some real notice right now. And we're so proud to call her a Wyomingite. This is Dana Volney. She's our guest today on the Roundup. And Dana is not only a marketing consulting firm, has a marketing consulting firm in Casper. She is an author, and one of her books is being made into a movie with some big names in it. So I am just so thrilled today to introduce to those of you who don't know her, Dana Volney. Hello, Dana. Welcome to the Roundup.
Hey, Wendy, I'm so excited to be here on your podcast with Cowboy State Daily.
Well, we're excited to have you. I have to say, I'm always looking for interesting people. And Todd Titus, who is our advertising manager, said, "Hey, have you talked to Dana Volney?" I have said, "I don't know who Dana Volney is." He said, "You need to know Dana Volney." And he started to tell me about her book. And so, Dana, let's start off with you are a Wyomingite. You are a Wyoming girl. You were
Yep.
raised here. You're a Casper native. Tell us a little bit first about your background and what brought you kind of to this point in your career.
I ended up in Laramie, of course, as most Wyomingites do, and
Yep. My
decided to
daughter's there right now. Yes.
right.
Yep.
A great experience. Love it. Go Cowboys. I decided to get a marketing degree because it seemed like the easiest, honestly, for me to get. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. I was in property management at the time. And then after I graduated, I bopped around on my own. I would just move for different positions to Nebraska and to Seattle, where I traveled a ton, and then decided it was just time to come back, time to come home and move back to Wyoming. And I used to read, excuse me, I used to read a ton when I would travel in Seattle. I mean, I always grew up reading. My mom would check out, what you could check out 10 books at a time at the library. And so she always had stacks by her bed. We grew up reading. She would always have the Fabio cover books, which at the time, like you don't think twice about. As a kid, I had no idea. They're just mom's books. I don't know. And then when I started reading in Seattle, I started very prolifically reading, 3 or 4 books a week because I was traveling and that was my entertainment. And so when I got back to Casper, I had been putting it on my list for a while to write a book. Like my New Year's resolutions, I'm a big goal setter. And one day my sister was like, "You have been putting this on your list for years. Just take a class, do something about it." And so I signed up for a class at Casper College, like one of the night classes, like the outreach classes. And excuse me. It was, of course, advanced fiction writing, which there was nothing advanced about me. And so I just dove in head first. And from the very first class, I just absolutely fell in love because I had started stories before that, throughout my life or when I was in Seattle. And that really taught me a lot about finishing a story. And we would read in class and you would get critiques. And it was just fantastic. Fell in love, have never looked back. That was in 2012. So 13 years ago.
13 years ago and 13 books later.
Yep. I got my first contract in 2013, and it was a holiday book because I am a holiday movie obsessed girly. I love the cheesy. I know it's going to be cheesy going in, and yet sometimes I still cry. I love it. I am here for the holidays. They're just my favorite. So that is like the longest series I have is 6 books, and it's the holiday series. Yeah.
But you have other genres too. So you do the holiday books, the
Mhm.
holiday, the Hallmark, kind of the Hallmark movie
Yes.
formula books,
Mhm.
which are just they're candy for those
Oh,
of us
yeah.
who love to read. If you've been reading a heavy novel, it's like I need something light. And so you'll go to these wonderful books about relationships. Your holiday books are so I love them. They're romances, but they're not the steamy romances. They're
The holiday
just
ones are not. They are
no,
meant to
no.
be like Hallmark movies. They are sweet. There's like a kiss in there. They are just very clean and just everything you want when you think of watching a holiday movie. And, it just kind of scratches that itch of, of sweet.
But then
Yes,
you've
then.
got the other books that you've written. Tell us about the thrillers.
My nature is suspense. My nature is mystery. I need that in a full-length book or in shows that I watch. I enjoy everything else, of course, the romance that comes with it and people falling in love when people are shooting at their faces and so the excitement. So I definitely have other books that are steamy, that are sexy romantic suspense books, I like to call them. And they're strong women. And like I have one who is a woman who is the bodyguard, and she's protecting the guy. And
I've
so
downloaded that on my Kindle. I have not had a chance to read that yet, but I've
yeah,
downloaded that one on my Kindle, and so I'm ready to read that.
that's the first in a three-book series. It's called Protecting the Prince. It's the Wind Security series. And there's a little fun fact, that book actually started as a twist on Snow White. And so that's why he gets poisoned like different, like with an apple at the end. And like, yeah, so that's a fun fact about that book is it kind of started as a twist on a fairy tale.
I'm very much looking forward to reading this now. That's great. So you've got these 13 books that you've written. You are a holiday book obsessed, and I have to say my favorite book, my favorite holiday movie is it's called Spirit of Christmas, and I it's just my favorite. And the star in that movie is an actress named Jen Lilley.
Yes.
How excited was I when I looked up your book that's being made into a movie, folks, to find out that Jen Lilley is going to be the star of the movie Holiday Hearts, which is based on your novella, which is A Heart for the Holidays. Tell us about, but number one, finding out that one of your books was picked for a movie. How does that work? How do you get notified? How do they even pick?
It is honestly a surreal experience. So the writing industry, like a lot of industries, can be very predatory. So you have to watch out for scams and stuff like that. And I got an email in November of 2023. And I skimmed it. It was like noon. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And so I'm a night owl. So I was going through my email again at midnight. And I was like, wait, this sounds like real. This sounds different. And it was from a gentleman named Bill True, who now I've met with several times. He's amazing. He's out of Arizona. And he had gotten my book, a film deck that had been made for a different publisher years before. And he was like, I want to write the script for this book. And so I sent it to my agent that night, who's in Rhode Island. And so the time difference, but she's also a night owl. So I was like, hey, what's up with this? Do you think this is real? And she was like, I don't know. He seems legit. Let's set up a meeting with him. And so we met with him like the following week or something. And he is just such a fun person. And he has written scripts before. He's got things in progress and just a really cool individual. And sure enough, he wrote it. We signed the shopping agreement with him. He had the script done that next March, and then has just been such a champion with his connections in the industry and got connected with Jen Lilley, who just, I have not met her yet, full disclosure. I'm so excited to meet her soon. But from her social media and what Bill tells me, just, fell in love with Silver and Fisher and the script and has just been an absolute champion of the team that they have put together to bring this forward and hopefully start filming soon. And it's just been so exciting. The first time I saw her talking about these people who live in my brain and like they're real human beings, and just the absolute excitement. And it's a surreal experience, honestly. And Bill has been amazing about keeping myself and my agent, Tara, who's amazing. Um, in the loop. I don't think you normally get that. I've read the script, which I don't know that writers normally get because I'm not writing the script. I write novels, I write books. It's a different beast. And so it's just been really cool to watch that process. And I'm so thankful that Bill keeps me informed on who they're casting or what's going on. And it's so I get like the best part of the roller coaster because I get the exciting news or what's happening and I don't have to stress about making it happen. But I do, my sister and I will get to be on set when they film. We get to be background people, and which I'm just tickled pink about that I'm able to do that because my sister also big holiday movie fan and that was one of her things was like get us on set and I was like I'm trying.
And you did. And you
I
did.
did. We will be. Yeah, we will be.
Yes. Now, of course, talking about casting, there are some big names. I mean, Jen Lilley, for Hallmark
Gosh,
movie
she's
fans,
amazing.
Lifetime, we know Jen Lilley,
Yeah.
but everybody knows, folks, everybody knows Kathleen Quinlan. Kathleen Quinlan is in this movie. So is Michelle Hurd,
Yes.
and that is,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just you hear about movies and you think they're going to get unnamed people or people who aren't necessarily big names, but this is a big deal to get those two
Yes.
powerful women, amazing actresses, to be involved in this project, and they play major parts. In fact, there was an article in
Mhm.
Variety magazine which
Yes.
named you.
I
How big of a deal was that for you
It
to
was
see your name in Variety magazine?
it was so cool. I didn't know to dream that dream. And it was just amazing that my name was in there with the title of the book that the movie is based off of, and just with the amazing cast and the interview with Jen. And it was so cool that like it was more like nationwide and people were talking about it. And just, I don't know, it's been so surreal. It's
That
been
is just
cool.
so fun. But the other fun thing is, and this goes back to the book. Now, I don't know, is the movie also set where you had set the book, which is Casper, Wyoming?
That is a dream. That is a dream, Wendy. I don't know at this point. They
Okay,
are trying, but they want to film in New Mexico, so there's different, credits for different things, and
sure.
one of them might be location that it's considered. So anyway, I'm not sure yet. I'm still fighting that good fight for as, little say as I have. But that would be the dream. I mean, obviously, it's set in Casper. There's different landmarks and things I thought of when I was writing it. But I don't know yet. Although it
Well,
would be,
it would be very, very cool. But I love the fact that your holiday books, all of your holiday books, are set in Casper, Wyoming.
yep, they are.
And that's obviously, you don't have to imagine too far
No.
when you're writing those. Now, for your thrillers, you have to have quite the imagination to set your thrillers in these other places, but to have the holiday romances in Casper, it's just got to be like, again, visiting old friends.
Oh, of course. Yeah. When you're thinking of small town, some people make up towns. I've certainly made up towns. But I was like, no, we have a, small town. And so it's like, let's just do it here. I love Casper.
Well, I think everybody needs to read this book simply because, and read this novella simply because it brings you home. I mean, it does. It brings you home. The name of the hospital that Silver works at is different from the Casper hospital, but still, you've got the Wyoming wind. It's Christmas, and it's a great story, and I'm so tickled that I was able to read it. It was
Oh,
a
thank
short
you.
short turnaround, be able to, between booking this and recording this podcast, but I'm so glad that I was able to read that. I look forward to reading more of these books. Let's talk about your characters. I got on your Facebook page in preparation for this, and one of the things that you had put up there was about how you're writing the characters, and these are people that you created, but then they kind of take over.
Mhm.
Tell me about that, because the writing process, it's such a different way. Your brain has to work in a whole different way.
It does. And it's really kind of weird because, I make up these people, right? Like I want
You are
them
the
to
creator.
oh, right. Like I want them to be strong or I want them to have this flaw or, whatever. But after you kind of get that set, they kind of just take on honestly a life of their own. They're their own people. So it's as if I'm picturing my mom and sister having a conversation and what I know them to say, because you can kind of anticipate what your loved ones are going to say. And so it kind of takes on a life of its own. And while I know I'm a bit of a more of a pantser in the industry, so I don't meticulously plan everything with the plot. I have a setup and a general idea of how I want it to go or how I want it to end, but I like this to take the ride with the readers. So as I'm writing, I'm kind of reading the book, if that makes sense. And it's just more fun for me that way because if I already know the story, then why do I want to write it, I guess? And so they just kind of take on a life of their own and they become their own people on how they react, which can sometimes take me for a loop. And it goes in a different direction than I thought it would be, or they're more mad. The other day I was writing and he was really mad about something and I didn't see that coming. So it's just kind of weird. It's very
You're
I
like
don't
you're channeling these
yeah.
characters. Yes.
It can be a very weird experience to be like this movie is playing in my head and I'm just kind of writing what I see and what is happening with these people talking, but they are essentially still me. And so it's weird. I don't really put a like it's not my personality necessarily. It's not me doing those things. So it's weird. I don't want you never want people as an author to picture you as the characters because that's not the case. So it's weird. It's just weird. It's a weird
Although I
experience.
have to say, when you're describing Fisher in your book, she's blonde and blue-eyed. And so I'm
Oh,
thinking,
silver.
yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
like silver.
silver. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
silver,
yeah,
silver.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And so like, sometimes, you like what you like and
Yeah.
blonde is all,
Yes.
Not always, they're not always blonde. So
But no, I just think that it's so fascinating for those of us who don't write
yeah.
to figure out how does the character take on a life of its own and it just like inhabits a different part of your brain and it just kind of it's almost multiple personality.
I mean, honestly, really, like it is these people talking in my head and these plots happening because I don't, or halfway through the book maybe, or edits for sure, you plot more. But like when I'm just writing the first draft and then things happen in the plot but then it like circles back if I just keep going, like your brain is an amazing tool. And in my case, if I don't overthink it too much, it will work itself out. Like it will work out the line through which is just something I've discovered recently if I kind of let my type A go a little bit. And so it's been kind of fun. It's been a ride. But it is a weird experience when you really get into it, when you're writing, people that are not you doing things you would not do. While I do know how to shoot a gun, I grew up doing that and different things. It's not like I am out there hunting people. One of my series is they are assassins. And so like that's not what I'm doing. So it's
How do
different.
you research for for a plot like that?
I have a weird Google searches, Wendy, very weird Google searches. So I will reach out to people I know. My dad would help me with some gun stuff, and just different. I have kind of a distant family member that works in a coroner's office, or like if I have a question about finding a body or, something like that. And so just a lot of Google or use, who I know. I was thinking about a bounty hunting series, and I met a person at a craft show that has experience with that, and so we might have coffee soon. And so just like
The
I don't
people
know.
who live in Wyoming.
I know, yeah,
Yeah.
like, normal everyday people that this is their job or they have experience in, or a lot of, Googling and just weird. I don't even turn on an incognito browser. I just Google because at this point, whoever's watching just should know. It just should know my Google. It's going to be real weird.
That's absolutely awesome. I want to you mentioned your type A personality. I want to shift real quickly and talk about the fact that this is not your full-time job. You
No, it's
have
not.
a full-time job. And
Yep.
so how do you balance being a marketing consultant with clients all over the state
Mhm.
with writing these amazing stories?
I work from home, so that kind of helps. I know, I say I set my own schedule, but every client is like a boss. And so you answer to a lot of different people, right? And so I try to just organize my schedule in the way that I know I can take time to write and then like I have days where I have to focus on, like my marketing work and get things done. And I'm a night owl by trade, and so maybe a lot of writing gets done at night and where I work more in the day. Sometimes that gets flipped depending on um, my mood, I guess, because also like I can block out a whole day to write, but is that going to be a writing day? Not always, but in chair is like a mantra of most writers. So you just got to sit down and try to do it. But yeah, it's a lot of I see my writing as a client, and so I try to schedule appropriately. Without letting anybody down. So it's taken a while. I've had my marketing business in May turns 15. So I've had many years to figure out my schedules, which the way I work changes year after year. And then with my writing, I've been writing since 2012. And so, they've always kind of been really one for me. And so just it's not always a good balance, but I try my hardest at that.
And so you've got all of these, I mean, you've got to be an organization queen in
I
order to
love
be
it.
able to
Oh
do
my
all these
gosh.
things.
Yes. Yep. On my phone calendar, have my written calendar, have my Kanban board for goals, which I love setting goals. I've got notebooks for clients. Yeah, like just love me a good journal, love me some stickers and some washi tape and some to-do lists.
You and I are wildly similar, wildly similar. This is fantastic. Dana, what is next for you then? I mean, you've got Volny Ventures, which is your marketing company.
Yep.
You've got all these books out. You've got the filming coming up. When is the filming going to take place for Holiday Hearts?
So right now they're looking at May, June, somewhere around there. I think from my understanding, it takes about 3 or 4 weeks to film something like this. And so that'll be down in New Mexico, which is really exciting. So that's going to happen here soon. And just so exciting. I have another holiday book out on spec with the publisher that um, publishes all my other books. So we'll see if they take that one. I haven't heard back yet. We just sent that proposal in because I think it would be fun to add to the series with the movie coming out. So
Yes.
we might see a guy who owns a taco truck and a girl who owns a doggy daycare. Um,
Oh,
and
yay.
Casper, of course,
And Casper, of course. Yes,
of
in the
course.
summertime this time, or will it still be a
You
Christmas
know,
one?
he's wanted a taco truck and now it's winter and that's not a great idea. And so he's gotta win some money and that's the basis of the book. So they'll
That's
have to work
great.
together. I'm a big enemies to lovers fan. I
Mm.
just think the dynamic is so fun. So a lot of my books are enemies to lovers. And so
And
we
but
don't get
Heart
along.
Heart for the Holidays was not. Heart for the Holidays was not.
No, that one not is not necessarily. It's more, I guess, friends to lovers, you could say, because she goes in, she decides she wants to save him and make him, spoiler alert, or not maybe spoiler, but
Yeah.
wants off the heart transplant list, and she runs the transplant list, and she decides that she's going to show him life is worth living, and he runs a type of food bank kind of situation for kids. So she goes there to talk him back into wanting on the list, and she ends up volunteering, and so they do become friends. Um, and and yeah, so this one is not necessarily enemies.
No, it is not enemies, but those are fun. Those are the
Yeah.
the twisting. It's like something is irritating about this
Uh-huh.
person,
Yeah.
but that's just because I'm actually secretly attracted to
I
them.
know.
And
Always.
yes, Yeah, all of those things. Do you get inspiration from other books that you read? Do you get inspiration from people that you meet, from movies that you see? I mean, does something just spark you and say, you know what, that would make a great plot?
I do. I mean, I think everything around you can be just a little morsel of it, you know. The book that I just finished that I have drafted, it started because I read a series that I actually hated. I hated it. I read all three books. Anyway, it was a mafia romance actually. So, but I hated it. But I happened to see an article that said something about like it takes 88 days to fall in love. And that between my hatred of the books I just got done reading and that article, something sparked in me to start a new story and write a new enemies to lovers, but they happen to be married. And so yeah.
Okay.
And so that sparked that and then away I went. And so you never know just where things will kind of like mix in your head together, I guess. So you just kind of take little bits from different places. Yeah.
And where can we find your books? I know I found them on Amazon, and
Mhm.
you've got a website.
Yep, I do. DanaVolney.com is my website. You can find links to the books there. My YouTube channel is linked there. And so they are all right now, I think they are wide. So you can find them anywhere that you read. Probably soon they're going to go into Kindle Unlimited though. So if you don't read on Kindle, or on Amazon, you probably want to go get them now, because I think this summer that they're going to go into Kindle Unlimited. The holiday books, like those are my self-published books, which were not all self-published, but now I have the rights back to all of them. The holiday books, though, are with a publisher and they are wide. So those you can find anywhere that you read. And they're in two. So the six books that are the holiday books are in two bundles. So you can buy a bundle that has three of the novellas together right now.
Yeah, that's what I had done. I bought the one that had Heart for the Holiday in it, and so now I'm looking forward to reading the other two that were around it because that was the middle book in there.
Yep.
So but the publishing part of it, that is also, I mean, that's a trick. How did you get noticed? How did you find a publisher? And there's a process there.
Yeah, it can be really hard. And I definitely got a lot of rejections. And so that's, you write a query letter, you tell them what the name of your book is, what the tropes are, where the category it falls, how many words that it is. And then you send your query letters out to either agents or publishers. At the time, I was just directly submitting to publishers. And then I got it picked up. I actually specifically wrote my first book is called Holiday Hoopla, and I had found a publisher who put out a call for short, novella-sized Christmas books. And since I loved Christmas so much, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this. I can do this totally. And got on my treadmill desk and away I went. And then so I only submitted that book actually to that publisher because I specifically wrote it for that, who happened to pick it up. And at the time, the head of that company was now my agent. So that's how I met my agent. And so then we formed a relationship and I was able to keep, querying them with whatever I was writing because I don't always stay in the same lane, which is hard for me because I have a lot of interests. So I want to write sweet holiday, but I want to write sexy suspense or I want to write middle of the road something. And I don't know, I'm kind of all over the place, but that's how I formed that relationship, but had definitely had learned the process of, okay, this is what is standard in the industry. This is what people are looking for when you query them. This is what a synopsis is, which is 3 to 5 page summary of your book and how you write one of those. And so definitely had to learn those steps. So I did mostly publishing through a publisher. And then in like 2016 or 17, I did just flat out self-publish my own book. which is that one is No Good Dead, and then you have No Good Truth. So those have always been self-published. But through different years and events, I now have the rights back to everything except for the holiday books. So definitely, you have to do your research on the industry, start following people, start following agents you like. So a good place to start is books that you enjoy and the genre you're writing in. See who their agents are, see who's publishing them, go look them up, start there, find out what they're looking for. Not all agents are always open to submissions or only certain times a year. Same, sometimes publishers want it through an agent or you can do it yourself. And so that's where I would start. And then you can kind of snowball and with your research and go from there.
That's
Yeah.
great information. Thank you. It's to me, again, not being a writer, I think that that's just fascinating, the process of how you even get noticed in such a wide field where
Right. Yeah. Oh
so
my
many
gosh.
people are submitting.
Oh, so many people and so many authors who are wonderful and who are self-publishing. And so there's just, I forget the number, but it is like thousands of books a day are newly published to like Amazon. And so it's hard to kind of cut through that fray and find your voice and tell your story. Yeah.
But you have done that. You've found your voice, you're telling your stories, and people have noticed. And now Holiday Hearts is going to be filmed in May, starring Jen Lilley, Kathleen Quinlan, Michelle Hurd, and Dana Volney.
And me and my
Yes,
sister in the background, maybe holding
that's right.
coffee or something.
That is fabulous. Dana, this has been such a fun conversation, and I'm just thrilled that we can claim you as a native Wyomingite. We can claim you and your success and saying, look at the talent that we have here in Wyoming and in Casper. So, Dana, congratulations on
Thank
just
you,
really.
Wendy, for having me on.
Oh, this has just been fun. And I wish that you and I could sit down and have coffee sometime. Because, like I say, I think that we're wildly similar in so many ways. But this has been just a grand conversation, Dana. Thank you. And good luck with all of the things that you've got coming up. And I can't wait to read your next story. So I'm following you on Amazon. So now
Okay,
I've got you
okay.
there. And folks, you need to follow Dana Volney on Amazon, or you need to look her up in Casper if you are in need of marketing services. Volny Ventures
Yep.
in Casper. Dana's the one to talk to. So, Dana, thank you. Good luck. Thanks for being our guest today. Folks, thank you for tuning in today. What a fun conversation this has been. Next week, we've got another great conversation coming up. We hope that you'll tune in and go back and see some of our other conversations that we've had. We've been doing this now for, oh my goodness, almost a year and a half with these conversations with the most interesting people in Wyoming, and Dana Volney certainly counts as one of them. So, folks, have a great week. Tune in next week.